Hello everybody, today we're going to be factoring quadratic expressions with no leading coefficient. So let's focus on this expression right here, x squared minus x minus 2. What we're going to be looking at is the last term, which is a negative 2. So what we need to find is we need to find two factors of negative 2 that have a sum of negative 1. So you might be thinking, where did I get the sum of negative 1 from? Now, negative 1 is actually just the coefficient of our x term. And what I mean by that is we have this negative x, which is the same as negative 1x. So what are those two factors? If we have negative 2, and we want two factors that add to be negative 1, well, we can have negative 2 and positive 1. If we add those together, negative 2 plus 1, that equals negative 1. So we know that that works. So now let's look at how we need to write our answer. We need to write it as two factored binomials. So what this will look like is we'll have an x minus 2, because negative 2 is one of our factors. And then for our other binomial, we'll have x plus 1. Alright, so how I got that is we know that we have our x times our x, which will be our x squared, and then we have our two factors, negative 2 and positive 1, which will multiply to be negative 2 and add to be negative 1, which is right over here. So in order to check this, what we can do is we can multiply it out. So if we multiply the first term by the first term, we'll have x squared. If we multiply the x by the 1, we'll have the positive x. If we multiply our negative 2 by this other x, we'll get negative 2x. And last of all, our negative 2 multiplied by our 1 will be a negative 2. If we simplify this down by combining our like terms of these x's, we'll get x squared plus, should be minus x, because we have a 1x minus 2x minus 2, which is exactly what we started with. So we know that that is completely correct. So let's try another example. Let's say that we are given the following example. We have our 3x squared plus 12x minus 36. First, you might be thinking, we don't know how to do this because there's a leading coefficient, that 3, in front of our x squared. But you need to remember that the first thing that we need to do when factoring is look for a greatest common factor of all of our terms. If you look, all three of these coefficients, if we have 3, 12, and negative 36, all of those are divisible by 3, which means we can factor a 3 out. So we'll have 3 multiplied by x squared, and if we have our 12x divided by 3, we'll be left with 4x. Negative 36 divided by 3, negative 12. So now we see that what we are left with inside these parentheses here is quite easy to factor, just like we did in the other example. So remember, we're looking for 2 factors of this negative 12 that will add to be positive 4. So let me draw that out for you. We have our negative 12. We want some factors that add to be positive 4. We have, let's just start without any of the negative signs. We have 12 and 1. We can see that we can only get 11 and 13 with those. So 6 and 2. Can we get 4 with 6 and 2? We can. So we know that it needs to be this pair. So if we want to get a positive 4, it makes sense that we'll want a positive 6 and a negative 2. Because positive 6 minus 2 equals positive 4, which is what we wanted over here. So when we write that out, make sure that we keep our 3 out front, and then we'll be multiplying by x plus 6 and x minus 2. I hope that helps, and if you need more examples or another video, please check out my channel later. Thank you.